بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد بن عبد الله النبي الصادق الأمين، وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. In the introduction, we talked about the need for addressing this very important topic, the way of learning, the way of education, the way of studying Islam. We talked about the progress that Islamic civilization built in all aspects of life, including intellectual, social, political, educational. And then after a while, there was a decline. And we mentioned that the decline didn't start all of the sudden, but they mark it as the starting point as in the year 656 of Hijrah, or the year 1258 AD. But the roots, even for this decline, go back a little bit earlier. I mean, it can't be a progressive nation stopping immediately and declining immediately. There must be some sort of stagnancy, certain time, some factors accumulated, leading to some stagnancy and leading to the decline and so on. And one point we need to mention is that, as we know, Muhammad carried Islam to people, built the Sahaba, while believing in the supremacy of the revelation and at the same time addressing their problems, addressing their daily challenges, and never viewed the issues related to this life or the hereafter as opposing each other. They took care of both. And the Sahaba moved forward. And despite of some internal problems started in the fitna or during the time of Uthman, Allahumma arda anhu, despite all of this, the progress never stopped. And one example of this, the ability of Muslims to build at that time a navy without any previous knowledge or experience on this. They were able to build navy and not yet defeating the Romans in the maritime, in the ocean. It shows us this is just one example showing us that the progress didn't take very long time. And while when we talk about teaching Islam and learning Islam, we know that later on at certain stage when the Imams emerged, like Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad, Imam Abu Hanifa, if we study what they used to teach their quote-unquote students, we know that their focus was on the revelation, on the Quran and Sunnah. We have statements said by Imam Shafi'i as an example: إذا صح الحديث فهو مذهبي واضربوا بقولي عرض الحائط. If you found out that the hadith is authentic, that goes against my opinion, then just stick to the hadith. That's my madhab. Consider that is my madhab and disregard my opinion. And Imam Malik used to say, كل يؤخذ من كلامه ويرد إلا صاحب هذا القبر. Everyone and anyone's statements are subject for acceptance and rejection, except the one who is laid down in that grave, and he will index towards Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Imam Abu Hanifa said similar things. هذا الذي نحن فيه رأي لا نجبر عليه أحدا ولا نقول يجب على أحد قبوله. This what we view is our opinion. We don't force it upon anyone, neither ask anyone to accept it, unless if he wants to take it. فمن كان عنده شيء أحسن منه فليأت به. If anyone has something much similar than this, let him bring it and introduce it. Now look at these statements and compare them with a statement said by a Hanafi jurist, Al-Karhi. He died in the year 340 of Hijrah, when he said, Al-Aslu, originally speaking, the default is that كل آية تخالف قول أصحابنا, any ayah that goes against the opinions of our fellows, فإنها تحمل على النسخ أو الترجيح. If you find out an ayah contrary to what we say, then you have to understand this ayah in two ways. Either you assume that it's abrogated. Why is it abrogated? Because it just goes against our opinion. Or you assume that The other evidence which the student didn't know carries more weight than the ayah. So this gives us the difference between the two approaches. The first approach is focusing on Quran and Sunnah as the source, and the opinions will follow. And now Al-Karhi is focusing on the opinion of the madhab and the Quran and the Sunnah. And another qaida, he says any report, any khabar, ayu khabar, whether it's Quran or Hadith, putting this as secondary. Having said that, we need to go to the era of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the era of Tabi'een, Sahaba, the era of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the era of the Sahaba, the era of the Tabi'een. Why? Why do we talk about this and not including them in the historical part? This part is not historical. The time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam can never be a history. It is a formative period. It is laying down the legislation for us. So it's not just part of a history that is gone and then we just learn from it, listen here and there. And the era of the Sahaba follows the era of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because the Sahaba took from the Prophet and the Prophet taught the Sahaba. So it's the first experience in transmitting, in the transmission of the knowledge is the Sahaba. And then the Sahaba themselves took it on their own to the Tabi'een. So the Sahaba are also the first link connecting the Prophet ﷺ to the Tabi'een. This message from Muhammad ﷺ to the Tabi'een went through the Sahaba. So it's very much needed to understand these three stages. The era of the Prophet ﷺ, the era of the companions, Allahumma arda anhum, and the era of the Tabi'een. How the education was built. How did it work? Because this is what we need to follow. This is the revelation-based approach, and since it was transmitted, it means that it is practical, it can be applied. It's not something Rasulullah ﷺ preached and never been carried out to others. But rather the ones who received it from him were able also to move on and to carry it to the others. So that's why we need to study all of these separated from the historical part. Regarding the era of the Prophet ﷺ, upon studying the life of Muhammad ﷺ in terms of how did he used to educate the Sahaba, we can conclude the following 10 points. The first point is, number one, focusing on the Aqeedah and building it as the frame for people in a dynamic way. This can be illustrated in the following points. The theme of the Mecca Quran in Mecca, basically speaking, was the Aqeedah. This is known by studying the surahs which were revealed in Mecca. And the other point is that Quran was revealed gradually to build this. And this is mentioned in an ayah, وَقُرْآنًا فَرَقْنَاهُ لِتَقْرَأَهُ لِلنَّاسِ عَلَى مُكْثٍ وَنَزَّلْنَاهُ تَنزِيلًا. And a Quran, a book that we have sent it down to people gradually and revealed it by stages. And in this regard, we have the hadith reported by Bukhari and talks about Sayyida Aisha. Yusuf ibn Mahik said, I was one time sitting with Aisha al-Mu'mineen, the mother of the believers, when a person from Iraq came to her, telling her, Ya al-Mu'mineen, O the mother of the believers, Arini mushafaki, show me your copy of Mus'haf. She told him, Lima, for what? He told her, I want to arrange my Mus'haf based on it, because I'm reading it without certain sequence. So I want the sequence of your copy. And she told him, وَمَا يَضُرُّكَ أَيُّهُ قَرَأْتَ قَبْلِ. And what hurts you if you read anything before the other? You can read it in any order when it comes to the recitation. You can read Al-Baqarah, you can move to Amma, you can read Surah Yusuf. So what hurts you in reading which first? And she told him, the first ayat which were revealed from Al-Quran Al-Kareem, the detailed ayat that talk about the Jannah and the hellfire. And when people's hearts were attached to Islam, then the halal and the haram was revealed. نزل الحلال والحرام. ولو نزل أي ولا شيء لا تشربوا الخمر لقالوا لا ندع الخمر أبدا. If the first thing was revealed, don't drink, they would say we will never quit drinking at all. And if the first thing which was revealed was don't commit fornication or adultery, أو ولو نزل لا تزنوا لقالوا لا ندع الزنا أبدا. They would say we will never leave the zina at all. What was revealed in Mecca while I was a child, young, playing, بل الساعة موعدهم والساعة أدهى وأمر, in reference to Surah Al-Qamar. Those ayat were revealed in Mecca. The appointment, the set time for them is the hour, and the hour is more grave and more serious than what people think of. And Surah Al-Baqarah and An-Nisa, وما نزلت سورة البقرة والنساء إلا وأنا عنده. And Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-Nisa were not revealed except after I joined him, meaning in the Medina. Yet قال يوسف ناهك فأخرجت له المصحف فأملت عليه آية السور. However, she gave him the Mus'haf and she started narrating to him, dictating to him which order she should follow. It tells us, it illustrates the 2 points which we mentioned above. The theme was the Aqeedah and the gradual approach, the building up approach. The second point is in the hadith, in this era, is teaching as needed. Rasulullah ﷺ gave people based on their needs. And this can be illustrated in the hadith of Mu'adh ibn Jabal. When he sent him to Yemen, he told him, he instructed him, first of all, to call them to believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. فادعهم إلى أن يشهدوا أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله. Then if they obey, if they accept, فأخبرهم أن الله فرض عليهم 5 صلوات في كل يوم وليلة. After that, inform them that Allah mandated 5 prayers in the day and night, every day. Then if they submit, then tell them that Allah mandated upon them a sadaqah, a zakah. It will be taken from their rich people and given to the needy. So here the Prophet ﷺ guided Mu'adh how to approach people as need and gradually, and building the basis. So the first thing people need after accepting Islam is the salah. It's not the zakah. The zakah is mandated, but it has to have 1 year passed upon owning the nisab. So it's not due right now upon the conversion of person to Islam. And if it's not Ramadan, then you don't have to fast. So teach them as needed. You teach them the shahada kalima, you teach them the salah, and if Ramadan comes, inform them. If zakat comes, inform them. Now, can you educate people in advance of all of this? Yes, you can. You can give people general explanation about Islam. This is what Islam wants from us. But we need to tell them also that this is not all of this is mandated upon you except in the right time. So this needs to be explained. The third point is regarding the method of the Prophet ﷺ is we can see some characteristics in the method which Rasulullah ﷺ had. Now, he used to follow, in many cases, the practical way rather than lecturing them. This is the way the Salah was carried to us, and this is the way the Hajj was carried to us. He didn't get them in the masjid and tell them you have to pray in this way. You have to make wudu in this way. The ayah talked about the wudu, the ayah talked about the salah, but Rasulullah ﷺ illustrated both in a practical way. And he started teaching the Sahaba if a person makes mistake in the salah. And the same thing applies to the Hajj. And then he used to interact with them in a natural way, living with them, instructing them, asking a Sahabi to go to the Kaaba to recite Al-Quran Kareem, sending someone to teach others, as what happened when he sent someone to teach the sister of Umar ibn Khattab and her husband Islam, and so on. All of this happened through the direct interaction. The fourth point is that Rasulullah ﷺ built the frameway, the mental frame and the reference point. Because the Aqeedah, like we mentioned before, is not meant to be static. And it's not meant to be hypothetical. The Aqeedah is meant to be dynamic, and the Aqeedah is meant to be the basis, serve as the foundation for everything that comes after that, for the fiqh, for the ahkam, for the values, for the rules, for the morals, for the justice, for the point of view, for everything. And I will give here two examples. One example is, it was reported upon the death of Ibrahim, the son of Muhammad ﷺ, that there was a solar eclipse. So the Sahaba contributed it to the death of Ibrahim. Now this is very erroneous in their way of thinking. So he ﷺ told them that the sun and the moon are two signs from among the signs of Allah. They don't rise up, nor sit down, nor have the eclipse due to the birth or the death of anyone. The second incident in Al-Hudaybiyah. In Al-Hudaybiyah episode, one night it was rainy, and in the morning the Prophet ﷺ told the Sahaba, do you know what my Lord told me? They said, you know better, we don't know. He told them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to me, that in this morning some of my slaves remained as true believers in me because they attributed the rain, which is part of the natural law, to Allah, to the Creator. And some of us didn't believe when they attributed the rain to the effect of the stars or the planets. So even the stars of the earth and the planets follow certain law, and this law came from God. So we need to put this in the right perspective and relate this ultimately to God subhanahu wa ta'ala.